Alrighty, so a quick video on this 66 Dodge that I'm trying to sell. So I picked it up 18 months ago, 2 years ago. It was fully, it was basically all together, the motor, the trans were out of it, but it was a complete car, except it was missing all the side trim. It's had a lot of bodywork and damage done to it over the years, so I completely stripped it to bare metal. I've had this right down to the shell, with the frame off it, rear end out of it, and I spent probably 18 or close to 18 months panel beating, straightening everything I best I could. Where do I start? So it's got two different front guards on it now. The other ones are still out the back, but they're fairly beaten. But these are a lot better than they were. I straightened the doors. They had quite a few bends and bits and pieces in it. They're not perfect yet, but they're pretty good. As you can see, I'm still in the middle doing bodywork on this thing. So I've popped the seats and everything back in it in the meantime, so people can still see. Like, the upholstery's, it's okay. Like, it's quite usable. My plan was, if I was going to keep it, was repair the tops of the back seats and just put some covers on it, use it the way it was in the meantime, until I had enough money to do the upholstery properly. But I've replaced the floor panel on that side. I handmade the floor panel to match the other side, because it had been replaced, but just with flat steel at some point, because it had been rotted through. But that's all good now. I put bottom quarters on both sides, inner and outers. I've made them all by hand. This here had rust all through here, and it had actually gone into the inner panel, so I've replaced this whole section where the speakers go and everything. That's all been replaced. That's all out of another car, and that was fully picked apart, clean, stripped down to bare metal, rust treated, primed, all those sorts of things. That's in the fenders, because I haven't put them back in the car yet. Fuel tank is sitting in there. I've got a kit to treat that will come with the car, because it has got rust on the inside of it. See if I can show you. So these pieces in here have been replaced. So that's the inner parts that I remade. I made them with one bead roller, and the bottoms of the skins have all been redone, both sides. The floor pan and the rest of it, apart from that section, is all new in the boot. Well, new second hand. I did a couple of repairs to it, because it did have a couple of little rusty spots in it, but it was way better than the one that was in here. Mainly because that was rotted out and the water got in it, and it was getting real pitty and rusty. It's still not perfect, but it's good and clean now. So that's the main of what I've done, and the rest of it's just been body work and trying to straighten it out, because the scard was pretty wavy. It's still not real good, but it's a lot straighter than it was. Oh, and I've replaced parts over top of the wheel arches as well, both sides. What else can I tell you? I've straightened the boot out the best I could, because it also was in the Taz bash in 2013, and it had a bit of body damage from stuff being bolted to it. So I've repaired the boot lid the best I can. They cut a hole in the bonnet, which was, they'd actually put a sheave in it, I think. So I've changed the subframe back to the normal Chrysler one that had, because they chopped the mounts out of it. So same car as I got the rear section out of from the boot floor, I got the subframe and put it back in it, so it's got a subframe so you can bolt the original motor and everything back in it, or a big block or whatever you want into it. They all bolt into the same subframe. But the hole in the bonnet was in the wrong place, so I made another hole, and I was actually going to build a bonnet scoop for it. This is one motor underneath here. That's been bored 40 thou. See if I can show you. I need to clean this place up a bit, because I'm in the midst of trying to clean everything up so I can move. But the block in here is really good. It needs cleaned up. Obviously it's got a bit of surface rust in it, but there's no lips in this thing at all. you can barely feel it. Like there's no way your finger can catch on it. Like I've had the block mic, and it's basically you can hone it and put the pistons and everything back in it. I've got another crankshaft to go on it because that one there's a wee bit undersized from wear, but I've got a good standard crank in the cupboard that's all taped up and it's all being cleaned up, ready to go on it. That's one set of pistons which are out of that other motor in the corner. I've got a set of rods here that I've balanced. I've balanced the pistons that match that block. So yeah, there's heads there, shocks, some of the bits, spare steering column, all those sorts of stuff. There's more heads here. I think those heads are going to be better. I'm not 100% sure yet. I haven't really dived into the heads. There's spare door hinges. Now I do have a set of wheels here if somebody wants them with the car, but that will be extra because I've got these wheels. I work for a tyre place, but I don't actually own these yet. But if somebody wanted them, so I want $3,000 for the car the way it is. Somebody wanted them. They are 17 by 9s and 17 by 8s with 275s and 235s. If somebody wanted them to go with the car, probably looking at an extra $1,500-$1,600 because otherwise I'll just strip them back and give them to work when I leave. Because I can't really afford to just give them away with the car. There is a very rough exhaust system for the car that's part of it. The rest of it's outside. It's 3-inch. It's probably a bit overkill, but there's the other spare block. This is totally standard, but it needs bored because it's had water in a bore and it's pitted. So that's the spare mud guards. It's a bumper that I've been doing a bit of work on, but I've got that outside at the moment just to get it out of the road. You can see the exhaust there. It's got good mufflers and everything on it, so like those mufflers could be reused, but get rid of the other stuff. So that's the hole in the bonnet that I did because it wasn't in the right place, so I've enlarged it and I was going to put a small bonnet scoop on it. So bushes in the top arms have been done, bushes in the bottom arms have been done, and I've got all the bushes for all the sway bar and everything else, but they haven't been put in because I just temporarily put this back in so I could have it more mobile. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So all the bushes have been done, and then any other bushes are there for the front end. As you can see, it's got disc brakes. So XY Falcon with HQ calipers and a conversion kit from the rod shop. They were done before I got the vehicle, but I think they were done for the Taz Bash, so it had good brakes. They had put fairly new shocks in it, so the shocks should be all still good for it. Yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. So you use your boot lid, so the block. There's lots of other bits and pieces. Like, the grill's good. It's a 65 grill, not a 66, because it's had I think it had a small punt in the front end at some stage because the radiator support plan has been replaced. It's off a 68. So, but they're all sort of interchangeable in those years. So yeah, like it's definitely not a perfect car, but it's nice and solid now. I'll put a new bottom on that door. I think I put a patch on the other door. The other doors are pretty clean. I've just straightened them out the best I can. So yeah, that's the car. Got any questions, just let me know. There's like spare, it's all the stuff for the inside, like wiper linkages and stuff. I did have some spare doors, but the doors have been cut off them, but I've got all the mechanisms and all the glass and everything all out of them, so that's all spare. It's a good windscreen inside, the back glass is inside. The door panels are reasonable, but they are a little bit water damaged. I was going to just make some panels up for the bottom, because I've had some big holes cut in them. I was just going to make some MDF panels up for the bottoms of them, and put carpet or something on them and use them in the meantime, because they're quite, like the top halves are very, very serviceable, apart from there's a couple of the bottoms of them are getting a wee bit doggy, but that's what I was going to do, just to tidy up, make it nice and usable in the meantime. So that is the car. Alrighty, I'll post this up.